All right, Pot of Gold, welcome back. I'm Brett. I'm here with Mike. Grant, the intern, with a timely vacation, won't be joining us tonight, but that's okay because Grant wouldn't really have much to talk about this episode, so we can just kind of get it rolling. There's LSU baseball heading towards a regional weekend, a home regional. We got some Michael Block talk to bring up. 2 weeks too late.
It's Block, not Brock, right?
It is Block.
Ah, I didn't know if that's why you told me I changed my name to Michael Brock.
Yes, it's Michael Block. That's what I was trying to tell you. I was
Oh, I
like,
thought
you spelled it
like,
wrong. Then you were like, yeah. I was like, okay, I guess it's an inside joke that I don't get yet. So we'll get there.
no, I thought you were
Um,
just saying you put the dude from the PGA Tour as your name.
no, it's Michael Block.
All right,
The block
I
is
can change
hot.
that. I can
Block
change that in the
party.
middle of the stream. Keep introing.
Hit us up on Twitter at Pot of Gold at Gold Mike. Mike has been going on some fire takes. You haven't finished Succession, did you? I feel like you should have been firing off some tweets about Succession.
I did not finish. My wife did, and I walked in several times during the final episode.
Mm.
So I'm kind of aware that not a ton
No, we don't
transpired other than inner dialogue, but at the
here.
same
Maybe
time, I still hate Shiv.
everyone. I I know we can kind of get into this with the Michael Block. I hate her so much she might be my second favorite character. That's how much I hate her that I respect her of anyone over anyone in the show. Connor is number one.
Just want to grab
Everyone
her.
loves Greg. Everyone
Yeah.
loves Greg, but I hate Shiv so much that I'm just like I
It's
think
the
I like
facial expressions. Where I'm just like, oh yeah,
smug. It's the smugness.
yeah. It's
Yes,
just every word that comes out of Kendall's mouth. It's like, stop
I
moving
know.
your face. Just
I
listen.
know.
Just listen.
What a
Anyway,
good show. I
yeah,
loved
it's
it.
a
I'm
great
sad it's
show.
over.
I'm halfway through. I'll finish it off. I should have gotten caught up and was able to interact with all the viewers, but no, I got a lot going on. I'll catch up with it. Been reading books. Been back on the book
Little
train.
Grisham, little Jay
No,
Grish.
I went against the grain. I went with James Patterson. Same themes.
Who
Um,
doesn't love a good J Pat though?
yeah. Along came a spider.
That's the one I was gonna name. You took it right out from under me.
Yeah, it's a Morgan Freeman movie, so I'll follow up on that. I'm pretty sure it's Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
Could be
I
wrong.
knew that sounds familiar. Grant, look that up.
I actually pulled up my computer in Grant's absence, so I can do stuff like this. I don't know if I need
Nice.
to waste my time looking up Along Came a Spider.
No, I think we do. I mean, we're 3 minutes in and we've already run out of stuff to
Morgan
talk about.
Freeman.
So
Morgan
yeah.
Freeman. Yeah.
You let me know when you're gonna watch it and I'll watch it with you. Deal? We'll
Yeah, that's.
virtually watch it together. We're not gonna get popcorn and hang out in the same room.
Do you want to read the book first, or is this just I'm willing to watch a 1993 movie?
That number two.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, if I agreed to read the book, we wouldn't watch the movie till 2025.
Good book. Good book. Got a few chapters left, but once I finish that, I'll wrap it up. I'll watch Succession. I'll finish Succession. I'm kind of sad that it's over, and that might be why I've been on this whole delay mode, because it's a
I
really
used
good
to
show.
do that, and this one I knew I wanted to watch live, but I'm kind of there a lot of times where it's like I don't really want this to end. I'm just gonna ignore it, and in a year and a half, I'm gonna be like, oh
I'll
my
burn
god,
the
this is
final
so
season.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I'll just burn
I've
the
done
whole
that a
thing.
few times.
Yeah. So anyway, I know it's really good. I know a lot of people have been caught up with it.
It's just it's my favorite show that I've watched in a while. Just because, dude, Connor, I think makes the show the best.
Connor's phenomenal.
An all-time tertiary character. He's not a secondary. He might not even be tertiary. He's so out of the orbit, but he's just the butter's too cold.
Oh yeah. No, you know how, and we'll get to LSU sports very soon, people.
Well, sometime. It's 4 minutes in.
Grant's not on the show, so we get to kind of goof off. The producer's not here to keep us on track, so it's going to be more of a comedy skit here. We'll talk about the number 5 seed LSU versus Tulane coming up on Friday, but we've got some other topics to talk about. But you remember whenever you told me about, God, who was the character in The Office? He had the highest screen to laugh ratio.
Creed Bratton.
Creed. When you told me that stat, I was like, that's such an interesting stat that I got
I just completely made that up. You know that, right? That was a Brett statistic that I was just like,
no, dude, for 8 years now, I've been thinking that's a real stat. I thought you read that on Reddit before I knew what Reddit was, and I just took everything you said as gospel.
No, I just the Office is the best show ever made. It's better. It's like the Seinfeld of our generation. And I just every time Creed was on the screen, something good was happening. So I just like he's got the highest laugh to appearance ratio in TV history.
I thought that was a true
That was so
statistic, because it was believable. After you said it, I paid attention. I was like, yeah, he's barely on screen. And every time he is, now that Brett said that stat, now I have to like hone in on every second of this. And it is pretty funny. With that being said, because of that, I subconsciously like judge sub characters in that
Yes.
type of like bracket. And Connor is like way up there when it comes to screen time versus laughs.
He's like a pinch hitter that like hits a home run like 8 times. And you're just like, why does this dude not play in the lineup? It's like, no. You don't understand. That's not what he's there for.
Yeah,
He's
it's
just
like
there to
Jared
come
Jones for
in.
the first like 13 weeks of the season, where you're like, oh, we'll rotate him in as like a random first baseman or DH at the end of the game. And it's like bomb, bomb,
Bomb.
bomb,
Yeah.
bomb.
It's like, can we play
Well,
this dude? It's like, nope, you don't
yeah,
want that.
now he can't hit the broadside of a barn. But at the end of the day, Connor's been hitting some home runs with his appearances. They're always
He's,
outrageous. He's always
he's
hysterical in some form or fashion, whether it's sad or psycho or funny. Like it's just good.
yeah, he's the best. LSU number 5 seed goes into the Hoover, Alabama. What do they do? Win 1, lose 2, or they win 2? Does it matter? No, it
Won,
really
and yeah,
doesn't.
they won one, and I don't know, definitely lost two. I think
Obviously
we beat
lost 2.
South Carolina, and then we lost to Arkansas and Texas A&M. So we dropped bad into the year. No way to sugarcoat it. I mean, there was a point in this season, multiple times, where I was booking hotels in Omaha, Nebraska, multiple different sessions that I backed out. But there was also multiple times in the season where I said, this team can't be beat. No matter how much of a lead another team has on us, we're going to come back and we're going to win. And if we slip up a game, that's fine. We're not going to lose a series this whole season. We're unstoppable. I don't see a team close to us. Then the last like 2 weekends, not good. And then we went into the SEC tournament and it was the same as the previous 2 weekends. So we did not break any trend that looked like it could have been labeled as a fluke. We continued to regress with our pitching outside of Paul Skeens. And of course, the day that Skeens, has a couple runs, boom, like you can't finish, you can't win. It was nice to see Thatcher Hurd come through on a good performance the past couple of weeks. He's stepping up, but at the same time, I don't want people to all of a sudden think, wow, Thatcher Hurd, he's come around
Ace in the
after
hole.
right after an entire like 30 weeks of not being the dude. It's like, yeah, I get like he had a couple good outings, but let's not think that means we're going to run the table again. Like we have to take every win here, very graciously and be pumped for it. Cruz is hitting the ball again. There was a little bit of a, people were
Well,
asking, is he in a slump?
as soon as people start crowning you the best player to ever step foot on the hallowed grounds.
I always, from day one, said we got to stop that. We got to stop talking about Dylan Cruz or any current player, whatever sport you're in, that hasn't won a championship yet, has not like won the equivalent of a Heisman, like the Golden Spikes or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And win a national championship as the greatest LSU athlete of all time. Like you can't say that.
Well,
kind of stuff.
That's Angel Reese. Let's not get that twisted.
But at least there's some credibility that she won a ring. And like, so there are like diehard women's basketball fans that can sit down and be like, well, in my book, this is the best of all time. It's like, okay, you've got a warped perception of athletics, but that's fine. Like
you obviously
still,
never saw what Tyrann Mathieu did to
right.
opposing
you don't have
offense.
appreciation for real sports. And so like, it's fine. Do whatever you want to do. That's our warped reality because it's an LSU Tiger, and fine. I would love for you to live in that reality if you're still, having fun watching LSU sports. But the point remains, Dylan Cruz was crowned the best LSU baseball player of all time before the season started. And I'm like, I get it, dude. The dude's the best we've had since, Bregman. Like he's a dude. He's better than Bregman. I get that. But like we still have had some disgusting players on these rosters. and let's let him win a championship first. And that's what I said. I said, if he goes to Omaha and they win a national championship, hands down, Dylan Cruz can be the best baseball player we've ever had. But until then, let's take it easy. Let's finish the season. And look what's happening right now.
Yeah.
We're the underdogs here in the SEC. Florida looks like the hot team. Arkansas beat us. I mean,
I feel like it doesn't happen as much. I feel like it was more from like our childhood of the 2-team playoffs where there used to always be that argument where a team had like 2 losses or something. It was like, well, if we're just looking at the end of the season, like this has to be one of the best 2 teams. Like I feel like that argument used to like always get made, and it's the exact opposite right now for LSU baseball. It's like the entire season, if this little slump happened like in the middle of the season and then it was back to normal, we get close to the championship, whatever, everyone's feeling differently. But my feed for months has been filled with best team, the GOAT. Oh, no one can stop this team, to literally everyone off the ship. Like everyone's off that ship. And I told you, and I put it out into the Twitter world, like I'm buying all that stock. I've never been more confident that this LSU team is going to go to Omaha. And like, I kind of feel like, yeah. Okay. I don't know about winning the national championship. Dude, winning the national championship, I feel like LSU's in a rough spot because people who actually like pay attention hardcore to this probably are going to say something different, but it just feels like to me, once you get to Omaha, you got to get lucky and have some arms that just kind of come up big for you. And LSU really hasn't been in that spot where it's like deep into your bullpen, you're getting great innings out of all these dudes that haven't really shown up much. It's like, that's what would worry me. If they can go in and just bully, if Cruz can go hit and tanks and all that, then sure. But it's like, everyone's off the ship, and so now it's like I have to get on. It's the Michael Block 101 of mental gymnastics. Like if the world's on something, fade it.
Looking through the top 8 national seeds, anything could happen if these 8 went to Omaha. Number 1, Wake Forest, I think they're a fluke. Florida, I think, is your best team. Arkansas, that's a team that beatable. Clemson is your hottest team right now. They're on like the hottest streak. They've been able to beat everybody. They're kind of clicking at the right time. Could be dangerous. I think if you're actually looking at top 2, I'm looking at Florida and Clemson. LSU is, the best offense, but yet pitching is tough.
Am I wrong? And am I wrong in thinking we just got an absolute softball with them being like, hey, you can have Tulane?
Yeah, because Nichols was the other. I think Nichols was an option there as well, where they, Nichols beat us before also, and they're playing well. But yeah, I mean, Tulane's definitely a softball. That's why it begs the question: who do you pitch? I mean, you don't have a 3. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a true like Sunday guy to go burn, or a mid. You don't even have a 4. You don't have a midweek guy.
Yeah.
Do you pitch Hurd? And I think that's the big question: is like, he's been doing well. Do you see what he's got? Or do you just hope to God one of these fucking bullpen idiots like Blake Money can
even if he gives up 9, we're scoring 14.
Yeah, just waste that arm, get it over with, and then keep everybody else ready to roll against Oregon State. And if you need to, get out of some type of losers bracket, you still have Floyd and Hurd and Little. Not that Little should ever step on the mound, but yeah, it's a problem.
I was extremely worried when all the projections were coming out that Cal State Fullerton was going to be in the mix, because
Grant did
I couldn't tell you what Cal State Fullerton's done in a decade
since we've been in college. But that name scares
I know that those teams can jump up and bite you. And it's like and Oregon State's kind of in that mix where, LSU's had to go there a couple times and all that. I feel better with them coming into home. But red flags were flying when I saw that Cal State Fullerton. When we didn't get that draw, I was like, Oregon State will be tough. I'm all in on the Omaha at this point. I don't even know who we'd play in the Super. I don't care. Like
Kentucky, we're paired with Kentucky, who we won that series. We beat them already. But yeah, it'll be a challenge. Super regional. I mean, it is what it is. Like nothing's easy right now.
It's
So
one of those things, it's like, if you're gonna say that, like, LSU gets to play at home against whoever in a 3-game series to go to Omaha, I'm just gonna like LSU's chances. Obviously, they could lose. Obviously, it's like you 1,000% have to win your game with Skeens, like, I get it, but it's like, LSU's gonna be favored, and they should be favored, and they should be able to go out against it, with an incredible, 10, 11,000 people crowd and do what they've done for 2 decades.
so this isn't a bit. You really think that we're going to Omaha?
Yeah, because why not? If we lose, everyone's gonna be pissed. They're not gonna be like, "Hey, that idiot called it at the very end." Like, it's a win-win situation
No,
for
I
me
know, but do you really
because
feel it in your plums? I mean, is
yeah,
this
I do.
okay?
I
All
mean,
right.
dude, there's gonna be every burger shop in the entire state is gonna have
See,
that
now it's a
magazine
bit.
cover.
Now it's a
It
bit.
is a bit.
Yes.
It's 100% a bit, but why not? What am I gonna do? Sit here and join the crowd and be like, "I knew it." No, I've been shitting
So
on
if
this team
everyone was
all
still
year.
on, all right, Omaha bound, are you off now?
If everyone was talking about Omaha, yeah, I would say Cal State Fullerton is the best team in the country.
Well,
Or Oregon State, Oregon State.
yeah, Oregon State, they're out there in the Pac-12, and that's the other big team in the Pac-12 is obviously Stanford, who's the eighth seed. I don't know much about the Pac-12, but they're always that forgotten like conference. Like obviously the SEC and the ACC are the two big boys right now in baseball this season. But out in the Pac-12, it's like UCLA, Oregon State, Stanford, Cal State Fullerton. They're not in the Pac-12, but like they're out there. They're a Cal State.
Yeah.
So those West Coast guys, like they'll sneak up on you. They were like wearing the flat brim well before anybody else. They were
I
flat
used
brimming
to
it.
I used to be all on the Oregon State train. Like, when they were coming up, I was like, "I love this." They got the black jerseys, like, no one ever pays attention to them at all, and then they're just, like, in Omaha, but now it's like, they've had their run.
I
I'm
remember
over
people
them.
like rocking Cal State Fullerton hats and at
Yeah,
LSU. It's like, yeah,
yeah.
it's tight school. They're good at baseball.
I
So
mean,
I don't want to
when
pull
we
that.
were in the thick of it, it was yeah, Cal State was just that team that was just like, you're not ever gonna see a single pitch from them, and then somehow they're gonna be in a super regional up 1-0 on, like, a good team, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Same with Rice. Rice was always
Yeah,
like the random good school.
Rice used to be in there. I think they're still a good baseball school.
Yeah, I mean that's what it'll do to you. I haven't seen Rice listed anywhere, and we're still just
Mm,
like, yeah, they're good.
yeah, exactly. It's like, well, they have, like, the script R, like, I mean, that's a baseball jersey. That's, like, an iconic
Classic.
college classic jersey right there.
It's
I
like a
feel
Penn
like they
State
played
situation. It's
Texas,
like, yeah,
I feel
they're still good. They're still
I feel
good.
like they
Iconic
played
jerseys.
Texas a million times. It was probably, like, maybe 2 series in, like, a decade, but I
Yeah.
feel like that was, like, a staple of my childhood or, like, my, like, college-ish years of, like, baseball and getting into it.
Well, we played them in that super regional to go to Omaha when we were in school.
That's
So
right.
um, yeah, I think that's burned in our memories. They had a good third baseman too. I
I mean,
forgot his
Ruben Randall, man, I'm telling you, I can still remember the Ruben Randall, commitment. It's like some of those things are just burned in, and I will always be like, "Yeah, Ruben Randall would have been the best wide receiver ever if he went somewhere else."
Yeah, it was a lot of those receivers during that time, unfortunately. But listen, we had a lot of good ones come out as well that kind of like just fucking made it happen. It's like, you know what? We don't throw the ball here, but I'm still going to go in the first round. Like that, I got to figure
Yeah.
this shit out.
As much as a baseball hater as I've been in the last couple months and whatever, like, I am actually really excited because I love watching baseball that has, like, some meaning to it. Like, one of 58 games or whatever they play means really nothing to me, but now that there's actually, like, stakes on the line, I very much enjoy, like, watching competitive baseball. So I'm
Stakes.
excited.
Um, number 5 LSU hosting Tulane on Friday, the number 4 seed. The other side of the bracket, you've got or the 2 and 3 is Oregon State and Sam Houston State. Obviously, Oregon State, the number 2 seed, the more dangerous of the crew. Yeah, we'll see what happens if we get out of that one.
Do you
Obviously
like
with
the early game? I know that ends up being controversy. It's like, well, Jay Johnson should have played at night on Friday.
I think that shouldn't matter.
Pretty standard.
Yeah,
No, I
shouldn't
know. I
matter.
just didn't know if you had a take. I kinda liked the early one. It's like, give yourself a little extra time, get
Yeah,
this
get it out of the way.
hopefully easy game over with.
Get
Pray
it out
that
of the
the
way.
game, maybe there's a little weather that floats in and pushes the 7 o'clock
Mm.
game to like a 9:15 first pitch. Then it's a quick turnaround. A lot of things like that can
FanDuel
happen.
doesn't know what to do. Everything's frozen. We're paired with the Lexington Regional, #1 Kentucky versus Ball State, and then West Virginia, the #2 seed versus Indiana, #3. Not a lot of threats on that side, like you really want to make it past Oregon State. And don't lose focus on Sam Houston State as well. They're a fiery team right now. I don't think LSU will have a problem with Tulane. But yeah, it's looking like our path to Omaha is definitely one that if this is the team we saw 85% of the season, we should be in Omaha.
I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but would you think it's more likely that we just go hit so many home runs and score so many runs that we get through the regional and the super, or do you think it's more of like, well, if someone's going to step up? Skeens is obviously going to take his wins when he can, but do you think it's going to be like a little some pitching kind of steps up, or are we just going to bully people?
Yeah, do we overcome by having someone actually become a real pitcher, or do we just go balls out and explode on our offensive seams and just go all out with knowing that if we don't, we're out?
That'd be so
I
fun
think
if we're
it's
just like
offense.
scoring 20 runs. Was it NC State a couple years ago that was just like beating the shit out of the ball? And it was like they were just beating, I think it was NC State where it was
Maybe.
like, and maybe it was like
Wasn't
a
last year, was
freshman
it
Tommy
Tommy White?
Tanks. Maybe. I don't know, but I feel like I remember that recently where it was like, oh, this is fun. These dudes just go hit the shit out of the ball. And it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Hopefully that's us, that everyone's talking about.
If I had to make a prediction, I would say that these teams' pitchers are not up to par with what we've been seeing from the SEC. And we go in here fully healthy, guns blazing, no one's resting, no one's fucking, laying back on anything for Omaha. Like, oh, Dylan's just waiting to let it loose for the regionals. Like, this is it. So I think offensively, we're gonna be dialed in. And if this team is dialed in offensively, they can't be beat. And that's the thing, is we get beat only when our offense does not score or leaves people on base. Because we do that a lot. Like we'll be up by like 9 runs, and then we'll go like 3 innings with leaving fucking people on base, and then end up losing the game. Like we gotta keep it humming. We gotta keep the pedal to the metal.
It would be very nice to add like a relatively new year to the Intimidator. I feel like the Intimidator is a little outdated
Not
these days.
intimidating. It's not intimidating.
But if you can put a 23 on there, we're back.
For sure. I used to be able to like throw that image around everywhere. Just like anyone that would talk shit, it's just like show them a fucking picture of the
It
Intimidator.
was like every other year we take this bitch down.
Yeah, like we can't do that anymore. Like I can't. I caught myself a couple years ago with my relative, Uncle Kyle, talking about A&M baseball. And I like loaded up a picture of the Intimidator, copy pasted from Google, and I couldn't hit send. I'm just like, we haven't done this in a while. Like I can't do this right now.
But it is kind of perfect because I feel like that's Texas A&M in a nutshell without any of the years.
But that's totally like a Yankees fan thing. It's like, yeah, check the rings.
27 of them. It's like,
It's
yo,
like
the
we
last
had Mickey
one was
Mantle.
like,
All
yo,
right.
Barra, ever heard of him?
All right, man. This guy's crazy.
But yeah, I think it was, I don't know if they were beating Tennessee or whatever. I watched Texas A&M game for a little bit, and I was like, if I didn't know any better, I would think Texas A&M was like the #2 team in the country, the way they're acting. Like it was just
The way they're acting.
just chest out. Like it was, I was like, check notes. No, okay, Texas A&M is who we thought they were.
That's LSU baseball. Exciting for the weekend. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're finally in some postseason play. This is what we've been waiting for. This has been a hell of a season. No matter what happens, I will definitely be disappointed if we don't make it to Omaha. But with that said, this team for the majority of the year delivered on an exciting baseball product, and they were fun to watch every single weekend up until like a month ago. So, Paul Skeens, one of the best pitchers I've ever watched. It was so exciting and refreshing to watch that. Dylan Cruz,
Is he a
absolutely,
one and done? Like, is Skeens out of
yeah,
here? That's
yeah.
what I thought. Okay,
First
I was
pitch.
just
Him and Cruz are slated like undoubtedly back-to-back first picks.
I just thought for some reason there was maybe it was I think Tommy White
Tommy
where
White
Grant
comes
was
back.
always like, "No, we get him for another one." I couldn't remember if that was Skeens, but yeah, that was Tommy White.
Tommy White comes back. But, the three guys right there, Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, and Tommy White, what a joy to be able to watch this team.
Well, and I know you love Trey Morgan out there, always making everything look super difficult.
Dude, it's Trey just has a delayed reaction to every single catch he makes. Not a delayed reaction. It's just like leave the camera on Trey after he makes the play because he's either going to be in severe pain for like an hour or it's going to be like the most exaggerated, like, holy shit. Like, there's always something going on when Trey makes a play.
He, like, overruns it and jumps backwards 6 feet to, like, dive and catch, and it's like, "Well, you coulda just gotten
Or he'll
under
just like
okay,
lay on
okay,
the
good
ground
catch."
for an hour after he throws it, or I don't know. There's always something.
He's gonna, like, run through a wall, yeah.
I mean, even after he like swings at a pitch that he doesn't hit, it's like this fucking like he does like this fun little move after. He's always doing something after the camera gets him.
I'm excited to be
Great
all in.
athlete.
Very excited to be all in for the next, like, 2.5 weeks of baseball. I'm
Making
here.
a
I've
postseason
arrived.
run is fun. It's exciting to be on the edge of your seats in a super regional game 3. Speaking of last games of the series, did you watch any of the game last night?
Oh, the
Game
basketball game?
7. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm not a basketball guy, but I decided to turn it on. I was like, I'm going to pay attention because I kind of want to, I kind of want to watch the Barstool boys have some fun with the Celtics and see Boston kind of take this thing. Dude, I like watching that and trying to pull for the Celtics was disgusting. I was like, this is awful, dude. They can't make a thing. The only thing I could keep looking at was those red boots.
The red
The
boots.
red boot people on the sideline. Who do you
I
think you
know.
are?
I
Like,
love it.
no one likes that. Like, what
I
are you,
can't tell
Mario?
you I can't tell you how much I enjoyed the fact that there was a one person in between them. Like, if they were sitting together, it's okay, like, this is kinda silly, but it almost looks like they just happened to show up at, like, adjacent seats, and we're like, "Oh, look at those shoes. We got the same shoes," and that makes me laugh thinking that.
That is funny if that were the case.
Obviously
Jack
not,
Harlow is
like,
next to him, like randomly.
99% they were there together, but it just
For
cracks
sure.
me up to think that they both, like, showed up there and, like,
They don't
boots on
make
the
more than one of those things. They
literal
have
boots on the wood, and they both have these MacGuber shoes on, like, cracks me up.
Well, and then the long-haired one, like, tried to cross his legs so many times, and it was like he couldn't get it. Like, he kept fighting, like, he kept trying to do the fucking, like, you know, the nice crossover, dude. Like, the
Yeah.
fucking sit with your legs crossed, but just like, I'm a gentleman, I'm not here to, like, drink a beer. And he couldn't get it
The
because he's
Roman
wearing.
Roy type leg cross.
Right, exactly. Might have your hand tucked
Yeah.
underneath, whatever. But getting some good calisthenics in on the side of the court with these giant moon boots, and he couldn't cross his legs. And I'm just like, it's just the effort putting into this. But then a couple seats over, he had Jack Harlow in the house wearing Celtics gear, baggy pants, trying to bring back the baggy
It's coming.
khakis.
It's like I feel like the short shorts had its moment, and I think it's gonna go out quick, and everyone's gonna be rocking like giant cargo style. Like I think we're gonna
Ooh.
quickly move through the tight shorts that have been like plaguing the frat bros for a couple years now.
You see, I disagree
I
because
I kind of do too. I just like having a
I
hot
feel
take.
like I know, but like I couldn't jump on that one because I'm just like, no, I don't think that'll come back because I think like Jack
No,
Harlow is a rapper. So it's like maybe
yeah.
the rappers and like people that are like, I'm from the streets will embrace that again and stop trying to be skateboarders.
I just kind of yeah.
I
I
don't
just
think the
always
frat
hope.
world will change.
I just hope like the NBA draft goes away from like these super tight fitted suits where like the pants are like way too short to back when like these dudes were wearing the baggiest dress pants on planet Earth. Like that's what that's what I'm hoping for because that's just hilarious to
Just
watch
please.
dudes spending 10 grand on a suit that looks like it was from the big and tall, like off the rack.
Yes, with just a little belt. You know, this little
Can't even
stripe.
see their shoes. The pant legs are so wide. That's what I want, but the
Just
bros
rocking
love getting the
bells,
thighs
dude.
out. You're definitely right.
How did we get to that?
I don't
Oh,
know, the
courtside.
boots. The
Courtside
boots.
boots. Yeah, so what a game. Did you watch any of the stool streams?
No, not really. I was, whenever those games are kinda out of hand, I, like, start doing other things and, like, half watching and everything. Like, if the game got tight like, the game 6 was pretty crazy to watch, like, the back and
Yeah,
forth and then
it's
the
fun.
tip in, but the game 7 just kinda was like, I feel like we know what's happening here. So, I definitely
Miami
wasn't
couldn't miss.
super locked. Yeah.
Dialed in, couldn't miss. What a bummer for Boston. But game 6 was crazy. Game 6 was
I love Jimmy Butler. One, I'm 100%, like, not even 99, I'm 100% on the conspiracy theory that Jimmy Butler's Michael Jordan's illegitimate son, but,
talk
like,
to me about that. Like I heard someone mention that yesterday.
I mean, dude, I went down this wormhole a while ago, and I think because Miami's, like but in the finals, it's starting to come back up, but I think that pretty much essentially it's that Jimmy Butler, like, never knew his dad, but his mom was, like, maybe in the Chicago area, around the time, and apparently there's some, like, they were known to hang out or something, and then
Who
obviously
was
with
known
Jimmy
to hang out?
like the mom and the Michael Jordan, I think there were like pictures of them like at some point. Like they were at least acquaintances. And and then people on TikTok probably chat GPT, make some AI art or some shit about some
Ah,
things and maybe muddy the water a little bit. But I just I like a good conspiracy. But I just love that Jimmy Butler's like never talked about with like the Durants, the Tatums, like all these like top players, and like he might be just the absolute alpha of the league. It's like 8 seed, and they almost lose the play-in game to Chicago, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna backpack this team to the NBA Finals." I love it.
yeah, I didn't know anything about the guy until game 6.
Well, like
And
Jimmy Butler, so this was I don't know, this has been a while ago now, 5 or 6 years ago, he was playing for the Timberwolves, and, he, like, requested a trade, got traded there, and wasn't really happy with, like, the dudes and, like, thought that no one, like, gave a shit. So he walked into a practice one day, and I think just, like, said, like, "I'm making the rules," and he played with, like, the 2nd team, and just beat the shit out of the first string team and just like talk shit the entire time, was like screaming at the GM to trade him, walked off the practice court, went and did like a one-on-one interview with ESPN talking about how like he wanted to be traded and shit. Like dude's
who
kind of
was
a savage.
what team was this?
The Timberwolves is when they
Timberwolves.
had Carl Anthony Towns, and I think they had like one other dude who was like a quote like almost superstar. And Jimmy Butler like hated them, and he pretty much just like bullied his way off that team by beating them with the scrubs. Like Jimmy Butler's I'm sure he's one of those dudes that like you love him, but like if he doesn't like you, he's the biggest asshole in America. Like it
Yeah.
just seems like the
I
guy that
mean,
you would hate if he's not on your
I
side.
would too if fucking Michael Jordan disowned me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely worth going down the rabbit hole a little bit. It is funny.
How
Like
about
people will do like side by side pictures, and you're like, they do kind of look like, but that
oh
I'm not being the
oh
R
come
word. I'm
on.
just saying.
Come
I'm
on.
just saying.
What do you think about John Gruden coaching for the Saints now?
Is that real?
I mean, he's attending OTAs every day to work with Carr.
No. I mean, Gruden possibly like the most overhyped like person in America because he was
Yeah.
like the original Tony Romo of
Well,
just like
him and
getting
him
on the
and Michael
mic.
Block.
Well, Michael Block, dude, trust me. We have the entire B block of the show, like carved out for Michael Block takes.
We have to talk
Um,
about fucking Harry Hall too. Another villain back to back weeks. We'll get to him.
yeah, I don't even know where we were going, but yeah,
Derek Carr and John Gruden.
yeah. I mean, dude, I'd like to have Gruden around, whatever. But obviously won a Super Bowl, like whatever, good for him. But I feel like he was just like the most overhyped dude because he was like, no, I'm just gonna stay at ESPN. I'm not taking a job.
But like, do we really want to fucking keep giving the middle finger to the refs and like the NFL front office?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he had enough time with Derek Carr and they couldn't do anything. Let's
Well,
fucking
no,
kick him out.
yeah, I don't know, dude.
You're right. Actually, I've changed my mind. Fuck John Gruden.
No, I like it's fun, but like at the end of the day, is it like, the whisperer? Or is
No,
it just like, yeah, dude, you won a Super Bowl, like you're a fucking awesome coach, everyone loves you. You fucked up on some
everyone just
emails.
loved Gruden QB camp. Spider 2Y banana.
Yeah, but
That's it.
like maybe that's all we need him to do for the Saints. It's just like, listen, you can hang out, get a couple film room sessions, you can record it, whatever you want to do to
Is your
pump yourself
primary
up.
open? Hell yeah, it's open. I haven't watched that in so long. I'm gonna watch that after this
We're gonna
because
make Foster Morrow the next Gronkowski.
that's
It's like,
probably why he's like, fuck Derek Carr. I'm here because Foster Morrow is the ultimate tight end.
yeah. Foster Morrow's the next guy. Derek Carr's the best quarterback that isn't right now. It's like, I don't know. We'll see.
I'll take a few other guys instead, but yeah, okay.
But we'll see. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why I got off on Saints talk real quick. Well, speaking of LSU football, before we get into golf,
Did you see Brian Kelly looking fucking bowed up with Kenny Chesney?
yeah, he's the man. Brian Kelly, just like
Vascular. Dude, is he like Ozempic? Is he on that Ozempic shit? Like
he can't do anything wrong right now. It's a little scary. Like
he's never looked more jacked in his life than he does right now at 60 whatever years old.
Brian Kelly doesn't miss. Like if it comes to working out, if it comes to,
Like sign me up for the Jacob Flint fucking workout plan if that's what 60-year-old BK's getting.
yeah. No, I mean BK's doing a great job. Huge erection.
Oh yes. I forgot to
I know.
open the chat.
I always try to say his name out loud, and I always stumble. I always fumble because I mean it's spelled that way. But huge erection says you're not allowed to have an email. Yeah, if we have John Gruden on, we definitely don't want him to have emails. But I think he's learned his lesson by now.
That I think that kind of spawns an idea of a company we can make where it's like every email all your coaches send gets sent to it actually gets sent to us first and we review it, make sure there's nothing
They have
saucy
a
in
department
there.
of interns that are supposed to do that.
No, they're just looking to fire off funny tweets. Like the interns, you know, these kids these days, they're not looking to work, Mike. They're looking at investing in some fucking dog coin and getting rich. They're looking for likes on Twitter. They're not.
Dude, it would be our luck that like John Gruden day one sends an email to Michael Thomas calling him a trans or something. Just like calling
Gives
him
him
a
the
T.
Antonio Brown treatment of like, you can't show up to practice.
Yeah, just like the most inopportune moment to just start hating on the T's and like
DeAndre Hopkins on the market, New Orleans.
Rashid Hashid or whatever.
To beat.
I took a peek of last season's highlights of the Saints, dude. This Rashid guy, not bad, not
I
bad. Of
feel like
course, in typical Saints fashion, he's from like Crestwood High School.
yeah, I'm sure it happens with other teams in the NFL, but I feel like more than any team, the Saints pick up the most random dudes on the planet and they like turn out to be good. And you're just like, oh, great, sick.
Yeah, I mean, it worked when you had Sean Payton like really peaking, and it was almost
we get Sean Payton back in the league. I can't wait to watch him be so pissed off with Russell Wilson. That's going to be a treat.
that will be a treat. I do not see that working out. I do not see
No,
that working.
I have
he's
nothing
fucking
against Sean
bombs
Payton.
right now. Like
Thanks for
they're not
bringing us
focused. They're not focused. They don't want it. Like fucking Russell Wilson is in his own fucking world.
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, Mr. Unlimited is not 2005 Drew Brees, like humbly walking in a shoulder sling, like begging for a second opportunity.
Yeah, I don't have anything against Sean Payton. Thanks for the Super Bowl. I do think he's massively overrated, but like I just want this to go as poorly as you could imagine.
I do too. Listen, when the Saints are winning, it's a blast, and I love to support it. The whole state kind of wakes up and becomes football fans, even if you've never watched the game. You know, if the Saints are doing well, it's an excuse to continue the party. And I love being a part of that, and I love football, but I don't live and die by it. I would love to see Derek Carr, you know, be a success on this offense. And who knows? Maybe Dennis Allen figures out how to coach this team. I don't know. What I do know
Sure.
is that Brian Kelly doesn't miss. And right now, he's fucking every interview. It's just like, yep, he said the right things. He's looking right. He's sounding right. He's recruiting well. And people are all in on LSU all of a sudden. And I'm starting to talk myself into it as well. Like it's June and I'm entering into the what are the odds for Jaden Daniels to win the Heisman?
Yeah, you're like if it's not Caleb Williams, it's our guy. Now, I think Bo Nix might be someone to definitely keep an eye on. He'll
Keep an
probably
eye
end up
on.
being like top 4. It's not like that's a flyer.
I think Jaden can get invited to New York. I think
I do
if
too.
he can have I think if he has that good of a season against the SEC, how he ended the year, like when he really fucking turned, like if he can have those Alabama type games and trust his receivers even more with Malik Neighbors coming back, with Brian Thomas, with fucking, you know, Speedy Noel, not Speedy Noel, Aaron Anderson.
Speedy
But,
5
you
for
know,
5, baby.
I mean, just fucking let's get it out there to these guys. Let's fucking move. Let's see a year two. Let's see a year two in this fucking Brian Kelly disciplined era where we're not
We've
learning how to snap the football game one.
Yeah, we've talked about it a few times, but like I am very excited that we're not worried about how many times Booty's going to get the ball and everything
Yeah.
like that. Like that's going to
Spread the
be,
wealth.
and I'm not even saying that's his fault. Whatever, dude seemed like he played hard for LSU, whatever, but it's like a
Win.
clean slate. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I'm not just
Win.
besmirching him,
No,
he could have Eli Ricksed us and rolled out, whatever. But it's nice that we're gonna have this, like, almost like, it's a little Arrested Development, a new start, a little anus tart.
it is. It is a new start. So I'm excited. I think it's like 95 days till kickoff or something like that.
We're somewhat somehow creeping up.
We're in the countdown.
We get some golf majors to tie us over. We get a Ryder Cup, a little UK Ryder Cup coming up, and
Does
I
Brooksy join the team?
has to. I actually in a moment of, obviously I'm an idiot, but I started peeking at future Ryder Cup and British Open sites like, oh, maybe in like 3 years we'll go play Ireland for a week and go play the Ryder Cup. And I was like, that's not happening.
Sign
But
me up, dude. Sign me
oh,
up.
I knew you were in. I didn't even say anything because then it would be my fault that we never did this. It
We'd
would
have
be
to do it.
yeah, it would 100% turn into, well, I was ready to go. I had my fucking plane tickets. But like, well,
I already booked it.
My kid's got swim lessons, So, but I did have that moment where I was like, how cool would it be to go spend like 10 days just like traveling, playing golf, and then end up watching like a
Sick
Ryder Cup or something.
Sick. It's something you do like only when you're in your 70s.
Yeah,
You know?
and you can't swing anymore.
Yeah, you're just like, this would have been fun when we were in our 30s. What the hell? Why didn't we just take a week off?
But all that to say, we do have some things that are kind of going to coast us through. We'll have a little bit of a lull, and then all of a sudden we'll be getting fall practice reports, and it's gonna be great. Like
It's going to
I
be
don't
like
know.
Harold Perkins is going to destroy everybody, and Mason Smith is back to normal, and we're a fucking threat, dude. Florida State versus LSU is going to be a bloodbath of an opening game, and by the time that thing kicks, I'm going to go on LSU like -10.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like when we've had this much like hype and excitement
Coming into a
going
season,
into
19.
a season. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you and I were like super, super hard on this. Like, oh, I've heard Joe Brady. Like, but it wasn't this like big. It wasn't everyone calling for like LSU to be awesome. I almost feel like the year that we went into Wisconsin
Yeah,
and
yeah.
lost in Lambeau
14
was the
maybe?
last time like the world was like, well, Leonard Fournette, this team, everyone's coming back. Like, this is the
Yeah,
year.
you're right. You're right. It was pre-Ed. It was like probably Les's second to last season or so, or just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's LSU. They've got a lot of dudes coming back. They'll be in the top 10
Yeah,
and
maybe
they'll
I'm
make a splash.
misremembering, but I'm just trying to think because it's like everywhere, and obviously there weren't a billion podcasts and everything back then to hype it up, but, 2019, I think people thought LSU could be a, could be a SEC contender, but I don't know that it was like, "Oh, well, they're slated for the playoff spot." I don't know, I'm just super excited. I say it, I feel like every podcast, but I am just so excited to watch us possibly be the bullies on the line of scrimmage again.
Definitely. Both sides of the line too. O line and D line are both pretty beefed up. Going to be exciting to watch. Can't wait for the season. We're already in the double digit countdown, so always a great time of the year because once that countdown starts, time starts moving pretty quick. Where you have a lull, so you try not to pay attention to it, and then boom, you wake up. We're in like the 40s, and you got like 40 or 30 something days left, and you're planning like where you're going to watch the game.
Yep.
A month out.
Smoking
So,
a brisket, maybe. I don't know if there'll be time.
who knows, dude? I'm living out here in UT country, so it's going to be odd not being able to like pop into a bar and be like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like, turn on the real games.
Yeah, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited. And again, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, but we're like the only show in town on that Sunday night. It's a all eyes
Thinking about the
on
podcast,
us
I was like, "Oh, there's a
situation.
lot of us now."
No, I just, no one else is playing, and we
Yeah,
don't.
it's going to be a tough game, dude. That's going to be but like, oh man, it's totally the LSU fan in me that's just like, yeah, but it's Florida State. And we're going to be good. We're back to our old selves. Like, why are we not fucking just going all in right now and being like, no, we're going to come out here and pound these
I'm
fools?
betting Malik Neighbors over 180 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
we do a wild parlay.
we're gonna talk ourselves into it by that point. I've already said like I'm never getting that hyped up for a game one of again, but like I'll be there. Give me 94 more days and I'll be there.
Mr. Erection says, does this D line switch concern y'all at all? It should, but it doesn't. Maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know enough about the guy. I know we've got some dogs. Like Bo Pelini looked like a fucking genius whenever he had Tyson Jackson. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know all the behind the scenes stories of this new D line coach. I think we all like Jamar Kane. I trust in the honeymoon phase. I trust Brian Kelly to make a decision that's not going to completely wreck us. Like it's
until he misses, there's nothing for me to be critical or be a skeptic about yet.
Assuming Mason Smith can be right, but we kicked him to the curb.
We did. We got rid of him. Now he's taking pictures at some fucking like high school stadium, being like, "Back to basics."
I almost posted a troll comment into there, and I was like, I'm just gonna let this guy be. I can't. I don't want to.
Yeah, let him be. He had his little 1 year of hell. He got the heck out of Dodge.
But it's like if Mason Smith is healthy and the guy we think and Wingo and then you go back to that second string of guys, it's like it's really easy to look like a good line coach when you got a bunch of first round draft picks out there. So it's like hopefully whether we know it or not, we can say like this is a great hire because it's like, oh, look, our defensive line, look, Mason Smith's dominating. Like our D line coach is great. And if you listen to Pete Jenkins, he likes the guy, and that's all that matters for me.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I would love to see our D line be nasty, but I have a feeling this is going to be way more of a technical D line. This is going to be, Wingo and Smith, I think, are two dudes that are going to really rely on technique. I mean, obviously, Mason Smith is a freak. But Wingo really produced last year out of nowhere based on technique and strength, and not necessarily just him beating the shit out of people.
Right.
I kind of miss that. I kind of want to see that. It doesn't really look from the pictures that this D line coach is someone that's going to get in your face and get these guys fucking like stupid rowdy. But I think Matt House does a good job of doing that. Matt House is kind of a fiery guy. I wouldn't want to meet Matt House at like the back of a bar after a long night. Like, just definitely one of those bald guys that is, I don't know, looks like somebody that's probably from the Northeast. I don't know where he's from, but definitely
it looks like his numbers in the weight room. His numbers in the weight room would be like way higher than you expect. It's like, oh, that dude just throws weight around. Like he's not super jacked. Like he almost looks like a normal dude, but he's just rapping out 285 over there somehow.
Yeah, there's definitely something off. And I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's the
I think it's
older guys wearing hoodies, but there's just something strange about him that is
and then
good.
his voice is always a little hoarse. It's
It's a
like this
little,
dude's been getting after it.
yeah, he yells a lot, even outside of the facility, even at home. Um, I I want to switch to golf here
Yes.
because I don't think we really talked too much about Brooks Koepka. And
We
we
haven't we our last pod was pre-open.
Yeah, dude, and I think like one of the first people we talked about was like, is this the week that you just fucking throw your money on Brooks and say that the fucking live guys are gonna make a splash? And it's like that was the call, you
Yeah.
know? Like obviously we didn't neither of us kind of like jumped on that and decided to bet on that. But yeah, Brooks Koepka is certainly up there in history now. I mean, 5 majors. That's pretty impressive. And he had this hiatus. Um, for the past couple seasons, and I really felt like he was checking out. Goes to live and is kind of like, hey, I'm obvious, and he admitted it. Like I'm obviously not that as good as I was before. I've won my championships. Now I just need to cash in and make my check and recover. And all of a sudden, he shows up in these major championships again, healed up, and he's making it look easy,
Yeah.
effortless.
His distance control, especially like on the greens putting, it was like there was never a chance of him like three putting. It was every putt was like throw it in the gimme range. It was really impressive to watch. It looks like his heart rate doesn't move at all, but it was so much more.
Same old Brooksy, like the same
Yeah.
old, just like I'm gonna fucking waltz around. I don't care, but I do. Like it's
Right.
like Dustin Johnson, how it's like I don't give a shit. I'm kind of mope around. It's like that, but like he's zoned in. You know, like
Yeah.
that's just his body language when he's that focused.
Yeah, I always kind of liked Brooks because of that. Before he was kind of became everyone's best friend on Pardon My Take and everything. I was like, oh, I like watching Brooks play. Like he steps up in the majors and then he disappears for a while. But it was so much better and enjoyable watching him on that Sunday round, finishing up after watching the Full Swing episode.
Hmm.
Watching someone who literally had everything you could want, like the wife he handpicked, the poolside couches, like underwater, underground, whatever it was, recessed couches by the river, like everything, the Nike contract, all the money in the world, and just to be completely miserable because you suck at golf now. And then to watch like him obviously come back and be the dude again was really, really cool to watch.
Yeah, he believes he's the best golfer in the world, and when it's time to shine, like he acts like it. The past 2 majors, he's stepped up and been like, "No, I can play. You know, I can still."
If it didn't rain, we'd be talking about how many majors Scotty Scheffler's gonna win.
Scotty's one of those guys, dude. I think you may have said it, or maybe I've heard it on a podcast. I can't remember. He's very similar to like the Phil Mickelsons, where like he'll win his handful of majors over his career, but the amount of like top fives he's going to have is just ungodly. Like he'll
His
just
ball
be always in the hunt every single weekend. He might not win it all the time, but he's always consistently going to be one of the top players in the field every like
his
for his
tee to
career.
green, his tee to green is like so much better than everyone right now. Like he's really good off the tee, hits his irons incredibly well, good around the greens, and he can't putt right now.
No, he can't putt right now.
Like
He's
that's
changed.
it.
You see, he changed up his form. He's doing like the Spieth ass out body arch, like bent knee.
And let me just tell you, that's the slippery slope you see with these guys who
Start fucking around.
get a little taste of the top, go on their run, and all of a sudden it's just barely off, and we're like, well, let's tweak it a little bit. Let's just tweak it a little bit, and then next
I
thing you
literally
know,
yelled at the TV. I was like, dude, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Like you got there for a reason. The balls will start dropping again. It might take a year, but like just fucking leave your whatever you were doing for whatever you're still doing, dude. You're still in like the fucking you're still like number 2 every week.
I
Like
know.
out of nowhere. He
I
always
think he's
blows it for a whole day too. He'll
I
like
think he's
take off a
top.
Saturday.
Yeah, and I think though I honestly think the wet ground and that weird foot action that he does is a little less controllable on that wet grass, and that made his irons a little more off, and then he couldn't get up and down because he couldn't putt.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. and even when he's on the green, like he's always on the green, but he's just like fucking three putting and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
know. I
crazy.
mean, but yeah, Scotty, it's just such a good ball striker, and watching him play is very fun. I think he's made 20 top 20s in a row.
It's insane. That's insane.
And
Every week, it's just like you look at the leaderboard, you're like, yeah, there's Scheffler on Sunday, like fucking top three. Like he's
yeah,
just weaseling his way around, but then he'll
and then
just
you watch this week, and it's like a bunch of goobers on the leaderboard. Scheffler obviously lingering there, and then they scroll like 7 pages down. And you're like, oh, there's Morikawa,
yeah, like how? Like what do
the
you
guy we thought was winning 10 majors a year and a half ago.
Morikawa's fallen.
It's I'm
He's
telling you, dude, it happens fast, and it's like I'm sure he'll be back, and he'll probably win one, and we'll be like, oh, he's back. But it's like it's just not how it works out there. Too many good
the
players.
runs that they go on when they go on like a Scheffler type of run, that's fucking impressive.
Got
Like
to
that's
capitalize on your heater. That's why Michael Block went and teed it up at the RBC or wherever the fuck he was.
Charles Schwab, man.
Charles Schwab.
He went into the Charles Schwab tournament
It,
and with the best short game. He did state his short game and his around the green game is second to none. I think his quote was elite, or I forgot what he said, but up there with the best of them if he had Rory's length. And it turns out like his bunker game fucked him up, his putting sucked. I think
it was
it's
a
time we
no-win
talk about Michael
situation.
Block,
Go
but
home. Go home for a week. Just be with your family, do all the interviews, and then go tee it up at the Canadian Open or whatever. But like, and I get you want to capitalize on your heater, as I was just saying, but it was like, dude,
yeah,
I
he
was
sold a
screaming,
7-iron for 70 grand.
just screaming to anyone who would listen that this dude was going to shoot an 83 on Thursday, and I think
All
he
right.
shot 81.
I
You
needed
know,
to let you kind of air it out real quick before I give people the introduction to the Michael Block segment. But just a little preview or a prelude to this situation. So, yeah, obviously we're watching the tournament, and Brett is adamant from day one. He's out on Michael Block. Like
I think it was day 2.
it was day 2, but dude, I think you were feeling it day 1, no matter what you say, because you came in hot on day 2 during this feel good story. And I will just say, Brett was right, but the timing of Brett identifying his correctness just seemed off. It was just like, man, you're a hater right now. So it turns out Brett was right. And so we have to discuss that a little bit. I want to know at what
Well,
point, like
Grant, like,
we're in the group me, and it's just not a phenomenal story. I honestly, my version of it, like I didn't know what was going on the first day. I saw what was happening during the tournament, and I saw that there was a dude in this raw hat, and he shanked the ball while he was on camera or something, while he was walking and talking or something. He scrambled and did well, and then the next day, I think, or at some point, he like hit the hole in one, and I was like, that's the same guy. Like, oh wow, like good for that guy.
it was
And then,
on Sunday. The hole in one was on Sunday.
well, it was a Saturday, I think. No, Sunday, the hole in one. And I was like, wow, good for that guy. And your reply was, I'm out on Block.
I had held my tongue like forever, forever, because and look, I am 100% agree that it was like an awesome story. I just knew immediately that it was going to get beaten into the ground. And at best, this dude was going to do this and like run his mouth and make everyone hate him. At worst, Twitter was going to find all these receipts of him doing racist things or kicking people out, not paying bets. Like that was, I knew it was coming because we just can't have like,
How?
because
Why?
we
What
can't have
led you to believe
heroes
that?
because you build someone up. Like we can just like go through like the history of like the social media Twitter era, and anytime there's like some phenomenon that comes up that like takes over the hearts of America, like a week later it's like actually that dude was a pedophile, or like
What about
actually
Jared from
he
Subway, dude?
I mean, Ken Bone took over the internet for like 48 hours, and everyone's like, well, he's into like pregnant porn. Whoa. I don't even remember what it was. It was something like that, where he was like an avid Redditor for like these weird porn subs. But what pushed me over the edge was, I think it was Friday, it may have been Saturday. But I was like, maybe I'm just being a hater to be a hater. And he does the old walk and talk, little AirPod action with Emmelman and Nance. And they're like, "Oh, Michael, your website says lessons are only 50 bucks. Like, is that gonna go up?" He's
150.
like, "Well, yeah, whatever." He's like, "Well, to tell you the truth, Jim, I do like 2 lessons a week with my buddies." I'm just like, then you're not a fucking PGA professional teacher, you jackass. Like,
So
what are
that
you
was it.
doing here?
That is what set you
That was
off.
my tipping point because I knew he was gonna get crushed. I swear I was like 100% sure that he was gonna like not have paid bets in skins games in Temecula, California for the last decade or something. And everyone would be like, this dude's actually a piece of shit. And then the Twitter would just crush him. Because it's like when you have 100% approval rating and every tweet is just like, can't wait to see who plays the movie version of this guy. I'm like, this is going south. But whenever he was like, yeah, I'm not actually a coach anymore, like I was like, I'm out. I'm completely out. Pull the ripcord. Like, fuck this guy. Not really. Whatever. Good
You know,
story.
he
Good
sold
for
his
you.
7-iron. He was talking about
Did
how
he do it?
I
I
think
know
he
he was
did.
offered 50 grand. He was like, no way. And I'm like, once again, you're an idiot. You're
I think
playing
he
a
said 70.
12-year-old.
I think it was like $70,000, and I think he did it because the next week when he was like on the fucking bridge off on the cart path, they were like he hit like a great shot. You know, it was like
Yeah.
a fucking good shot. And as he was walking up, you like that? Like he was laughing at the crowd, and he was just like, "I'm not going to take a penalty, right, guys?" And they were like, you know, doing crowd work, and they were like,
Look,
"You going to sell that club?" He's like, "Maybe."
look,
It's like, dude, turn it off. Turn
I
it
am
off, Brock.
I think I know myself, like, I'm pretty self-aware about myself. I 100% believe I would have chummed it up exactly like he did, but I couldn't have been more annoyed that the dude would, like, make an 8-footer and it was like fucking Gladiator out there, like, "Are you not entertained?" Like, throw me
He's on the
when
radio with the fucking golf channel in the morning. I was listening to him, and they were like talking about like his rates and everything. He's like, "No, I'm actually going to keep him the same. I want to be a man of the people." And like they were talking about that a little bit, and they're like, "Is it going to be wild when you get back home?" And he's like, "It's going to be insane, probably for a couple
I
months."
promise I'm never paying for dinner again.
He was just like so ready. He said for a few months he won't be able to like walk around town.
And then, like, honestly, and like,
Cried the whole time.
fuck Jim Nance. The one time I will say this, normally love Nance, but like, fuck Jim Nance for coming back from commercial break and just spoiling the hole in one. Like,
I didn't see that.
he's like, oh, welcome back, friend. You're never gonna believe the storybook ending for Michael Block gets even better. And then he hits it. I'm like, well, obviously this is going in, and he dunks it. Incredible shot. Rory's over there like beating him down, and he's like, oh, did that go in? It's like, I'm all done here. Thank you. Can I have a check? And I will say,
I think you may have even put in the group me like, fuck this guy.
yeah,
It was just like,
absolutely.
God damn, Brett. And so
I knew
some
y'all
time
hated
went by.
but the reason I will say, I know for a fact that Grant was head over heels with this story. Like,
Head
this
over
is a
heels.
story that absolutely sucks Grant in beyond belief. And you know I'm right because he
We
was
were watching it at my house together. He was all in.
yes, and like I very much respect CBS for like completely dropping him from coverage after building it up. Like normally I would be pissed about that, but like I absolutely loved it because I was like, I don't even know if Michael Block's on the course anymore at one point.
So Grant was at the house, and I hate that he's not on here to talk about it. I'm sure he will for the next pod. We'll get into the visit. But like it was the end, it was the last part of the day before I took him to the airport, and it was the end of the tournament. But it happened to be like the first time I showed him the Oculus. And so like he had the Quest on and he was playing golf while the tournament was going on, just kind of fucking around. And he was so locked in. But at the very end, not with Brooks Koepka winning or being trophied, he took the goggles off only to see Michael Block win his award. And I was like, he loves it, dude. He's all in on the block.
No, I literally was like biting my tongue. And then it's like, I assumed you watched like the no laying up streams. I did
I
too. And
thought it was great. I thought they
I
did
was
great.
like, no, and I was like, I don't want everyone to just assume that like I'm stealing Randy's bit of like being the only person in America anti-block, but like I can't fucking take this. Like I was 1,000% with Randy on just about like everything he said. But I was
I
like,
didn't watch the whole thing with no laying up. I watched probably the first day. Um, I thought they did a great job, but
yeah.
throughout the weekend, I didn't tune in the whole time, so I didn't get Randy's take on
Oh,
it.
he was like literally we were in lockstep with our Michael Block takes. And I was like, I'm not just gonna like regurgitate this stuff to the boys because they may have already seen it. But yeah, I was like,
And so we were
I
both.
was like, I'm gonna let Grant have this. Like, I'm gonna let him have his moment. And I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, I fucking hate this guy.
Dude, I think I even laughed at one point and looked at Grant. I was like, damn, dude, Brett does not like Michael Block. That's wild.
Oh, I knew that you guys were disgusted with that take.
No,
And
I
then I
wasn't
couldn't have been
disgusted because part of me was just like, maybe, but let the guy have his moment. And so I didn't really expound on it. And then
as soon as I saw the Rory clip, I was like, this brings Mike into my camp. Like this is it.
Dude, yeah, that, and then it was driving around listening to the Golf Channel in my car and like hearing his interview the next day, or maybe it was like a couple days later, where he was just kind of like, it was just too much, and it was like, wait, we're still doing the block thing. And like, Brett's right, this is going to be fucking blown out of proportion. And then I there was someone on the Golf Channel asking if he was like, if he had a shot at like the Ryder Cup. And that's when I made that joke. And I put in the group me, I was like,
You pissed
Michael
me
Block
off so
to the
bad.
Ryder Cup. And you're like, what the fuck is next? Like you fucking thought it was real. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous. Because it was like kind of believable.
I called him a Make-A-Wish kid because I legitimately thought they were gonna make him like an honorary captain. And seeing him and Zach Johnson buzzing around in a cart without a top or bags on it would have sent me to the fucking insane asylum.
Yes, it would have, dude. Yes, we'll leave fucking Brooks Koepka home over politics, but we're gonna have fucking Block scooting around like Dottie with Zach Johnson, dude. Just fucking probably like dipping just to do it, like for the first time in his life.
Dude, God, it was
spitting seeds.
It was so good, but yeah,
Dapping it up, and then it kept getting worse. Like it kept getting worse, and then he fucking blew it. Obviously, this past weekend, and just like chopping it up with the crowd. It was just all too much. But then we entered another villain, dude. I do not like this Harry Hall character with the tan hat.
Yeah, he looks like he could be. If you told me, and my dad, I'll credit my dad for this take. He was like, if you told me this dude was 48, I'd believe you.
For sure. And he's a fucking rookie or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's his first PG Tour event outside of the Corn Ferry. Like he comes out there looking like a fucking 1985 version of fucking Bryson. Like thinking,
looks like he's been on the Euro Tour for a decade.
Yeah, and he was hounding Harris English during this. There was a questionable ruling of movement of his ball. It was right on the fringe, right on the edge of the green, and Harris English walked up to it and he did his little practice strokes, and then he settled. He set his fucking putter behind the ball, and he's like, my ball like just moved. And he backed up, and dude, fucking Harry Hall was all over it. He came over. He's like, well, was it when you set your club down or just when you're doing the strokes? Because there's a 2-stroke penalty when it, like, he started giving him the rules. And he's like, all right, like Harris English was all about like, okay, that's enough. Like, I'll get a rules official. Like, and the rules official came over and like explained, like, did it move when you were practice swinging or when you set it?
Or you had addressed the ball.
He's like, both. Like, I could see it in the corner of my eye that like something was happening. And then when I walked up to it and like started to put my club down, it moved like a dimple, but I didn't touch it or whatever. And he was like, all right, it's no penalty. And he like walked off. And as he's walking off, fucking Hall is just like following him, dude, just like questioning shit. It's like, dude, it's like your first tournament, man. Like Harris English might not be a dude, but like he is yipping on your heels right here.
I love when players get salty over rulings. Like it's high quality entertainment.
He
I feel
gave
like
them the
more
rule book. He's like, two-stroke, that's a two-stroke penalty if the ball moved at address. And he's like, I know. Like, let me get a fucking rules
oh,
official, kid.
Article 9B, the ball must be played as it lies.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you're barking up the wrong hole. Pretty cool ending to that. I love a little playoff golf, even though I'm not really interested in any of the players for that tournament.
The only 2 balls in the water on 18 all week for the last 2 were what's his face and Grillo.
How about that ball just like didn't stop moving? It was like 20
So
minutes.
good. I love it. We're at a professional fucking golf tournament with like 1.7 million bucks on the line, and we're just gonna like let clown shit like that happen. Like I love
Still
golf.
going. Still going.
Going every dude sweating bullets. Just needs a bogey for 1.6, and he couldn't get it done. Obviously, won in the
Yeah,
playoff.
he ended up winning. And he'd taken the pressure off of him, getting the kids involved, taking kids out of the crowd to hit off the tee while he waits. Kind of a cheap
Very much.
move.
Yeah, as much as like I wanted to hate on that, I loved it. I
Like
loved it
that
so
was his way of being like, I'm fucking out of this. I'm relaxed.
Imagine how pissed off you would be if you just made double instead of like cashing a fat check and you're just gonna let some goober kid with a Ricky Fowler hat on come take some shots. I was also kind of weirded out because he wasn't on a driving range. He was just like hitting at a hole. I'm like, is that
Yeah.
legal? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that this is legal.
At the hole. I think it was the hole that they were going to play on. He was just sitting there just fucking practicing. Like, good on him. It's like, I'm going to fucking distract the rules officials by like letting this fucking third grader
Oh no,
hack at the tee box.
I'm not hitting it. I'm not hitting any of these balls.
No, he's doing it. He's
Cross-handed.
doing it. All right, let me go. Let me go. Let me cook. And then fucking Hall stomps up and it's like, were you fucking practicing with this kid?
That's not allowed if you look at the PGA Tour rules guide.
I don't know how they do
Did you not
things
open
here.
that attachment? Did you not get that email at the
I don't
beginning
know how
of the
they
year?
do things here at the Charles Schwab tournament, but back home in England, you can't fuck around with third graders.
This American bullshit. But yeah, I can't tell you how vindicated I felt watching those red numbers on Michael Block's scorecard on Thursday.
Dead last, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
At one point, he was dead last.
DFL. Dude, 3 over through 3, and I looked like the Grinch. I had the biggest grin on my face. Like I couldn't.
Apparently, his son is like Charlie Woods. Like he is the best.
So obviously taken from this dude's Instagram where he's like, showboat, but the dude can whip it. Like I saw it. And I was like,
oh,
I can't.
Real. He's pretty good.
Oh yeah, well of course he like his kid's doing some like almost like Matt Wolf, like fucking we're gonna like dig in and swing as hard as humanly possible. But the TrackMan numbers were pretty dirty. I will say that.
So
it was
he's
like 197 ball speed.
He's like that fucking 14-year-old that's like hitting sliders that has Tommy John at 18.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this kid's gonna
get blown out.
Yeah, he's gonna be at a fucking like indoor simulator and break his back trying to, hit a 500-yarder. It's like Kyle Berkshire, but like in a 112-pound frame.
Wearing like fucking raw booty shorts. Like whatever the fucking thing is.
Yeah, it's not juicy anymore. TaylorMade has booty shorts that say raw on the back. Can you imagine? It's like we wouldn't be talking about fucking what's his face's shirts anymore. We wouldn't be talking about Victor's shirts anymore. It'd be Colin Morikawa having raw on his ass.
Yeah, Liv lets the boys wear shorts and you can wear the raw shorts. I'm in that league. Fucking sign me up.
How funny would it be if Michael Block went to Live? Good God. Would that be the ultimate?
Well, they don't have that money anymore. Like this whole fucking thing they put on of just like signing people for like fucking half a bill. It's like that's where it's done. Apparently, like the fucking private jet parties and shit, like all that was just kind of like year one. And then now it's, hey, we're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna scrounge up some dough.
who could have foreseen that to happen? You know, I mean, really one of those unforeseeable futures. The
Yeah,
last thing on
they'll
the
be
Michael
back.
Block, the last thing on the Michael Block that pissed me off more than anything, one, not his fault. The amount of fucking clown takes on Twitter from like actual golf journalists. I saw one dude say that they should never change the hole or fix the pitch mark from where he hit the hole in one. And just like
Who is this guy? Jackie Robinson?
literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard is that day in and day out, members paying a shit ton of money can never play a different hole location because this absolute goober fucking air quote teacher from California made a hole in one like
I
10
think he's
years
from
ago.
Dallas or Fort
Was
Worth.
so laughable. Yeah, I think the club is in. I thought the club was in California.
Oh,
I
really?
could be wrong. I've been so out on this dude. I've probably made up some bad stories about him.
If he is not, if he does not live in Fort Worth, Texas, and teaches at Fort Worth, Texas, and he's a California guy, I'm even further out.
They're yeah, I don't know. I there was a small part of me that thought about making a burner and saying like I've played with money games with Michael Block and he's
This
never
goes
paid
deep.
up. Like I thought that would have been very funny, but then I was like, I may never come out of this hole. Like if I become that guy, I may never leave. And I'm just tracking this dude down his whole career.
Oh, he'll say something. He'll be one of
Oh
those
yeah,
guys that's
he
just
would.
like in an interview, just like I've got Twitter harassment. I've had death threats. Look at this guy right here, and he'll like read something
coming
out.
coming after my family.
My kid's got a hell of
Interesting.
a swing. Don't talk about his
Also,
shorts.
Bryson saying, I wish I had the exact quote, but Bryson had a
Bryson.
quote with Amanda post Saturday's round of like, it doesn't matter what physical form I take, it's all about ball striking. And I was like,
Yeah,
that's the most Bryson comment of all time. Like,
I remember
I
that.
can't love this more.
I do remember
It's good to
that.
see Bryson back. I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of sad that he's like trying to be a nice guy again now and be like all gully shucks G. Like I want Brooks back where he's like legitimately pissed about ants on the court on the course.
Bryson,
Like that.
yeah. Yeah. Bryson definitely had his COVID year. And it was all about Bryson for a while there, like for a good portion of like the golf universe, whenever they zoned in on golf for the first time during COVID, like Bryson was your guy. And then in a blink of an eye, he's just like the skinny dude again that's just weird. Just
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, just an odd interview, just super nice guy. You don't really know
He's the
much about
nerd
him.
again. He's the nerd again.
He's a dude, and he's playing decent golf. Like
Yeah, he is.
he fucking put together a good tournament. And he
It's probably nice
definitely
to average. It's probably nice to averagely know where the ball's fucking going.
yeah, just stupidity. But I don't know, dude. He won a fucking major being wild and crazy like that. It's
Look,
kind of crazy.
I'm not saying I completely agree, and I think he's probably too good of a ball striker, but I think I 1,000% agree with like the method, especially if you're one of those like fringe guys of like, well, my short game's not as good, my middle game's not as good. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna bulk up and hit as far as humanly possible and bomb and gouge every single course in America and see if it works out. Like once again, I think Bryson's like honestly too good of a player and ball striker to be the one, but like that's coming. I think golf's going to change. Like we're going to see all these like Michael Block's kid. It's just like, well, we're just going to try to hit it 8,000 yards.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think he influenced a generation of teachers, probably like Michael Block. That's like it's all about length, baby. If I had Rory's length, I'd be the best in the world. So we got to get you started now. Look what Bryson did. Like I feel like there's a lot of those people, and a lot of people are going to try to do that, bulk up and fucking smash the ball. I don't know. It's whatever. It's exciting. It's fun to watch, I guess. People bomb it. It's funner in person than it is on TV, to kind of sit back and be like, okay, like great shot. Now we get to watch them chip. Like I'm gonna admit, I like watching those long iron fucking strikes that are pured and that land on the green. It's like that, 200 plus yards of just
Yeah.
pin seeking shit. Like that's fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Michael Block kind of took it out of me. I'm kind of exhausted at this point.
I agree. I think it was a good block talk.
I
Obviously,
can't wait
this
to get back into it with Grant because I know Grant loves Michael Block like 1,000%. Like
loves him.
he's
Loves him. I
following
think
him
you may
heavy.
have started like there was a couple texts that you sent where he was just like, huh. Like he laughed at it, but like you could tell he was kind of like, maybe he's right. Like maybe he's onto something here. Maybe I shouldn't be too happy for this guy.
Yeah,
But he's
like
still in. But
I think Grant was like it's like LSU wins a national championship, Michael Block getting into the Charles Schwab. Like I really feel like that it was like right under it. It was like a 2B.
no,
He
it
was
was
so
he was
amped.
he was into it. He was definitely like, that's awesome for that guy. Like feel good story, feel good sports story.
It was. It just
I
got beat into
still
the ground. It was a
has
good
that
story.
not happened before though?
Not really.
Even
I
like at
mean,
a pro-am where somebody like does really well.
dude, you'll get some AMs in the Masters, like the kid from Texas A&M. I think his name was Sam Bennett. Like you'll get stuff like that. I mean, shit. Jim Nance said that he thought Bryson had a chance to win the Masters at Augusta because he was such a student of the game. So it's like there's some shit that kind of always happens.
Victor
But
Hovland, let's fucking keep that divot mark. He did great at the Masters as an Oklahoma State guy.
I respect Hovland. Hovland's he's lingering. He needs to
You
catch one of these.
mentioned Hovland. I threw out Brooks. You mentioned Hovland. Those were
Yeah.
two random like what ifs.
Yeah, I really felt like I
And he fucking
legitimately
tore it up day one.
listening to like some of the podcasts and some of like these player interviews before, they talked a lot about like the rough. And that's what I will say is I enjoyed watching this tournament as much as any I've
Destroy
watched
Justin Thomas.
recently because a lot of time it's like, yeah, sure, if we're gonna do like knee-high rough and everything, like these dudes aren't gonna be able to get it out, like whatever. But to watch like very average looking rough absolutely destroy the best ball strikers on the planet, I thought was like incredible to see. But listening to these players talk about how bad the rough was, I was like, well, Victor's great off the tee, elite off the tee, very good with irons. His fuck up is he's kind of shitty around the greens. And it's like if the rough is really tough, that probably evens it out some. Like everyone's gonna maybe come back to him a little bit. And I mean, he played really well. He's gonna win one.
Yeah, he will. He'll win one. Funky colors and all.
Dude, I love it.
What's the next tournament? Is
They're at the
the
Memorial. I think it's like Jack's course or whatever. One of those. The
right,
Memorial.
but the next major is the U.S. Open.
Yes, LACC, and then we'll end it with the British, and then a month or two later is the Ryder Cup.
And then it's football season.
I think we
actually football is probably in the Ryder Cup, right?
Yeah, I think it's like right in that. Like it might end up being preseason, but like it's one of those that like, man, I wish this was a few weeks earlier so I would like
It's like
not
a week
be
0 where you're watching.
Yeah, I
like
think it might
Oregon.
be. We'll have to look into that. If we had someone, a producer on the show that could like pull up schedules and dates, we could probably
we need to look into that. Phase 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good show.
That's all I got. Thanks for hanging with us. At Gold Mike, at Pot of Gold. Do it.
Over and out.